Evening all, so welcome back to the brew shed. Just thought I'd do another homebrew Wednesday video, although it's not actually Wednesday, but I don't think anyone really cares, do they? Anyway, got a few things to just sort of update you on. First of all, nearly there for 100 subs, 95. That's shot up dramatically since I started posting stuff on the BrewTube channel, so thanks to everyone who's subbed me from there. And let's have a few more just to push me over that magic number of 100 subs. That would be great. Gonna do a quick taster of the Vic Secret IPA that I did and posted a video up of the brew day a little while back, so we'll have a look at that. Talk about some new FVs that I'm going to be using, which are a little bit different to what I've used before, and certainly what I guess most people would probably be using for fermenting vessels. And then just a general update on what else is brewing at the moment and what I've been up to. So yeah, let's have a look at this Vic Secret IPA. Just a little bottle of it at the moment because it's only been cold conditioning for a few days now. I think that one was brewed on the 3rd, so no, that's when I bottled it, on the 3rd. So we've got, yeah, we've only been in the bottle for about 3 weeks now, but it's a hoppy IPA, so that should be okay. You know, most people will say that you're supposed to drink them quite young, so let's see how it's going. So pretty nice carbonation on that one. That's looking all right. Quite hazy, as you can see. Not too surprising considering the amount of hops that have gone into that. That was made with San Diego super yeast as well, which is supposed to be quite a flocculent strain, so in theory it should clear down quite well, but my experience of it has been that it does tend to actually stay a little bit hazy initially. It does clear down eventually and sticks quite well once it's done that, but yeah, certainly in the early stages, as you can see, it doesn't seem to be massively clear at the moment. It's definitely a juicy one. Yeah? Apologies for that interruption. The mother-in-law turned up, so that was annoying. Anyway, the back to the beer. Yeah, so aroma, there is a sort of tropical pineapple kind of thing going on. I also put quite a bit of Cascade in to this, so there is a sort of citrusy kind of grapefruit background from that as well. The Vic Secret hops seem to be quite piney to me as well, so there's quite a resinous sort of note there. Quite nice, a little bit green at the moment. There's a little bit of a grassy sort of note to it as well, which I'm not a particularly big fan of, but I think give that a couple more weeks probably of conditioning and that should come out really well. So yeah, quite pleased with that. Does seem to be a little bit of a spicy note on the finish as well, quite subtle, but I think there is a little bit of spice in there as well as the tropical sort of resinous side. So it's not quite as outright sort of fruity as something like, say, Galaxy or one of those type of hops. It's definitely, for me, carrying quite a lot of sort of resin, pininess. Definitely is quite fruity as well, but with that little sort of slightly spicy kick at the end. So quite an interesting hop actually from this sort of early tasting. It's quite complex. Definitely one to try out, I think, if you like the sort of typical Australian kind of hop profile. Yeah, so that's the Vic Secret IPA. So I've also been out shopping today. the FVs that I've got are starting to get a little bit worn out. I've been using them quite a lot for a couple of years now, and they're starting to look a bit scratched up, a little bit tatty on the inside. The sort of stuff that's making me think twice about using them, because they might be harbouring bacteria and stuff that isn't going to be you know, necessarily cleaned out by the usual cleaning and sanitisation. So basically it was time to get some replacement FVs. Now, using the brew fridge here at the moment, which I'm lucky enough to have quite a big sort of larder style fridge to use as a brew fridge, I can get two of the normal sort of FV buckets in stacked up at a time, which is great. But I was looking at using something that would allow me to get more in there, and I've decided to try out using basically some storage boxes like this. So I got these from B&M, 2 for £6, so £3 each. Bit of a bargain. It is food grade plastic, so on the bottom here you can see you've got the recycling sign of a number 5 and PP, so polypropylene is it, or something like that. And there's also an actual sort of food safe mark there as well, with the little emblem of the drinks glass and a fork next to it. So definitely food safe. Clearly these are not going to be totally airtight, so the lid sort of clips on but it doesn't seal. So I won't be using airlocks with these or anything, but to be honest, I don't really bother using airlocks that much anymore anyway, and seems to be fairly common for people to be happy to, you know, conduct fermentation, not necessarily in a totally open vessel, but in something that isn't 100% airtight, and not have any problems with that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be using. And the added bonus of using these is because they're a lot shorter than the buckets, and they actually fit the fridge almost perfectly. I can get potentially 4 of these stacked up on top of each other, and they're 30-litre containers, so I can still do a full you know, 23-litre or more batch in them. Happy days. So that should work out quite well. So let's have a little look in the brew fridge. I've been off for half term this week, so I've managed to get a couple of brews going. The small batch up here is a traditional sort of German wheat beer, Weissen, that I've made with Mangrove Jack's Bavarian wheat yeast. It's looking pretty good. It's only been in there for about a week now. The yeast appears to have fermented out in about 3 to 4 days, which is pretty impressive. It didn't go completely mental and explode out of the FV, so despite it being an extremely quick ferment, it didn't have a massively out of control krausen or anything, so that was good. And from the samples I've taken, it's looking really smooth and quite drinkable already, so that's looking really promising. Very impressed with that yeast. That's the Mangrove Jack's Bavarian wheat yeast. We'll definitely consider using that again. I fermented that initially at 21.5 degrees C, and flavour wise it looks like that's brought out more of a sort of banana flavour with the yeast, which was to be expected, but I wouldn't sort of describe it as a massively dominant flavour profile, so I wouldn't say that it's a banana bomb, as some people like to describe the wheat beers that have that flavour very prominent. A few bottles of a Galaxy and Cascade Pale Ale that I did. That's based on one of the recipes off of Beersmith recipe database. And then down the bottom, the most recent one that I've done, that is the an Amarillo Pale Ale, and that's actually based on Dr. Smirto's Golden Ale recipe, which is one of the most popular recipes off of the Beersmith database again. So a 23-litre batch of that, which should be quite nice. It's smelling pretty good already. Nice simple recipe, that one. I've actually brewed it before as a partial mash in my early days of brewing, and it's really nice beer actually, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that one goes as well. Slight change with that recipe, I decided to ferment it using one of the Brew Labs yeast strains, so it's a Thames Valley free yeast that's in that. That was something that I've used before on a hoppy ale, and it works really well actually. It brings out the hop character quite well. So that's what we've got fermenting, and then the job for today, which I've been putting off, and I should probably be doing now instead of making this video, is to bottle this up. This is a Elvis juice clone from the Brewdog recipe book. I know there's quite a few people out there who are not particularly big fans of Brewdog beers, and I would tend to agree that in a lot of cases they're not necessarily as good as they are hyped up to be. But I think Elvis juice is actually probably one of their best beers that they've made in recent times. Really nice, lovely sort of grapefruit fruit character in it, loads of hops, just a very nice, quaffable, quite strong American IPA, with obviously infused with the grapefruit and orange flavours as well. This is a clone based on their recipe. They don't tell you how much grapefruit and orange peel to put in, so I had to sort of guesstimate that a little bit. I looked at a few other recipes and worked on the basis of that, and ended up going for a 15-litre batch, the zest off of a couple of grapefruits towards the end of the boil, and then also added in with the dry hops as well, another 2 grapefruits worth of peel, plus an orange in each case as well. So yeah, hopefully I'll get on to doing that in a minute or two once I've finished recording this, but it's a bit of a pain in the arse bottling generally, so that's probably why I've been putting it off. But yeah, I'll get on it shortly, hopefully. So that's it for today. Cheers for watching, and yeah, let's get a few more subs in and get me up to the 100 mark. I hope you've enjoyed watching that and that little update that I've given you. So yeah, keep on brewing, guys. See you later.